everyone. Mel McSherry here. How are you? I wanted to come on today and just share a moment with you guys. This has been a moment that was sparked a couple of weeks ago, and as I've had time to sit with it and grow with it, I wanted to come on and share with you that moment because I want to pay it forward. So I have no script for this. I have an intention for sure. And my intention is I really want to show you the power of simple steps. So let me start a little bit from the beginning, give you some context, and then I'll take you to present day. I've been an entrepreneur since 2010. However, I don't truly feel I've been successful, truly like 100% successful in this journey until about 3 years ago. And first of all, it blows my mind that it's only been 3 years. And that's part of the thing that's been really germinating with me is 3 years. When you start and somebody tells you that 3 years you'll be here, that seems like such a long way away because we are so much of a culture that we need to have that instant gratification, that instant show. But yet when you look back on something, it's that moment of, oh my God, that was only 3 years ago? That's so crazy. So our perception is very interesting. But I'm going back on a reflection. So 3 years ago, I found myself divorced and in this pivot of now taking steps to truly create something that is 100% mine and having no fucking clue what that looked like and being scared and nervous and excited all at once. And so I started putting this into practice early in regards to taking slow steps forward. So I recognized what I wanted. And what I wanted was to create something that was 100% mine. I had bits and pieces of how I could do that, but I didn't know the entire plan. And I think that stops so many people right there, is that they feel like when they have that vision of what they want, but they don't know the how, then they feel like it's not actually what they want. Is that connecting with any of you? And it stops most of us. So for me, that was my norm. Whenever I didn't know the how, I would just instantly stop myself because I would feel like the universe was just showing me that that's not really my true path. And this time, I did not do that. This time, I fully pronounced that I wanted to create a company where I could show business owners and entrepreneurs how to prioritize themselves correctly so they could truly create what they want, connect to what they want, and understand that they are fully capable of it and worthy of it. And I got my first peek into how I was going to do that moving forward when I went into my certification weekend with the John Maxwell leadership team. And that was such a phenomenal weekend on so many different levels. But the first thing that it showed me was a peek into how speaking can be such a powerful connector. I've been in theater. I know that words are an amazing way. Communication, whether verbally or non-verbally, is so fucking powerful. So I had that inclination. But then when I had that first moment of having 5 minutes in front of only a table of 5 people, but sharing a bit of my story and constructing that story, I instantly made relationships with somebody that I probably couldn't have created in a million coffees, So I saw a hint of that. And it's funny, on my time hop, it showed me saying how I went on live on Facebook and I said, I know speaking is something, I'm just not sure how. And so I let that sit with me for a minute as I built my other things. That's another thing I want to point out to you guys. When you feel inspired by something or excited by something, sometimes that doesn't mean you need to naturally act on it. Sometimes you need to really let that sit with you and make sure that you have built something to where it sustains and supports what you want. So for me, I just had to figure out what my business was. Like I needed somebody to help me get that clarity and help me get that system of process going, like really give me those first steps. And that's when I hired my first amazing business coach, because I knew if I just went straight into speaking, but I didn't know who I was or how to get leads in or what my packages were, like why would I do that? Why would I do that to myself? And why would I do that disservice to others? When I want to work with somebody, I want to make sure that I am the right person and I have the resources that they need in order to be successful. So I wanted to establish that with me first. So again, little steps, little things that I made sure were in place before I went after this big picture. Now, fast forward a year. 2 years ago, I had the honor and privilege of attending the Summit of Greatness with Lewis Howes. It was the first conference that I attended as me. And what I mean by that is, and I'm getting goosebumps and a little bit emotional, it was the first space that I could walk into and fully pronounce who I am and what I do and meet people at that level. That was something that was extremely powerful for me because until really that moment, I was always representing somebody else. And by that, I mean, I was trying to represent my clients or I was trying to represent my family. Does that make sense? Like I never really just made an introduction that was fully about me. And in that space, I started doing that. I started really announcing who I am, what I do, and the problem that I solve. And through that, I made some amazing connections that I still have to this date, which is, I still say that conference, if you guys have not been before, it's the Summit of Greatness with Lewis Howes. I unfortunately had to miss the next year and this year due to great reasons, which I'll get into in a second. But those relationships were probably the most authentic, amazing connections I've ever made in a conference in my entire life and to this day. And one of those connections is a brilliant man named Shane Breslin. And he decided to, and we only met for 5 minutes at breakfast. We just happened to have sat next to each other at breakfast at the hotel, exchanged stories super quickly and information, and went from there, right? So he organized a Zoom call and offered it to all of us to hop on, talk about what was our biggest takeaway at the conference, what's our next steps and how can we support each other. And I'm sitting on that call and I thought I had my ask, because my ask from that point, till then was asking to coach people. And that's what I actually thought I was going to talk about when I got on there. But as I really sat there, I had this moment of inspiration and I blurted out that my biggest takeaway is I'm going to be speaking at the Summit of Greatness in 2020. And as soon as the words came out of my mouth, that's when the how starts popping up, right? That fear of like, but how? How are you going to do that? Why? Who are you to even say that? Who are you to even pronounce that? You just started your business 6 months ago, like full time, 6 months ago, 9 months ago. And Shane instantly said, that's fantastic. Do you have the support for those starting steps? I was like, no. So I asked for help. I was like, if anybody knows of somebody who can give me that direction and that help me formalize that plan of action, please send them my way. And he's like, I know somebody. And he introduced me to my now coach. And through her work with her, through the work I've done for myself, because it's great when you have a support system. It's great when you have a coach. It's great when you have all these people who are showing you how to do it. But guess who has to take those actual steps? You do. You have to put it into action. It doesn't matter if you have $1 million coach. It doesn't matter if you have no coaches. What matters is you taking in what you know, expanding what you don't, and putting those into action every single day. And I made speaking my laser focused intention for 2018. And with that laser focused intention, that's what helped me really understand my boundaries, my ask, and I just stayed consistent at it. It isn't something that happened overnight. You guys see in my posts that I speak all over, right? You guys have seen my posts, or maybe you haven't, but I've posted about how speaking has just amplified my business. I talk about tripling my annual income. I talk about speaking internationally. I talk about now being a paid keynote speaker. However, I also want to share with you guys that is because I have been consistent in who I am, the message, and who I reach out to. Yes, I spoke 30 times last year. I also reached out to over 500 people to get those 30 times. And I was consistent in it. I heard a lot of no's. I heard a lot of nothing, because we all know the ghosting happens. You never hear anything unless it's a yes or nothing. But I was consistent at it, and I consistently looked at those opportunities and how I can continue to strengthen who I am, my message, and who I can speak to. Now, I had a moment 2 weeks ago that blew my mind, because it's so easy to get caught up in your routine and just like, this is where I am. This is what I do. Like, not take a minute to really reflect on what you've accomplished and what you've manifested. I'm a big believer in manifestation. I'm an even bigger believer in putting action so you create those manifestations, right? I'm not somebody that just like tells the universe what I want and just sits there like twiddling my thumbs waiting for it. But I use that as part of my true north. I use that as something to stay open and see what aligns with what I just pronounced, okay? And for the longest time, I have wanted a life. I remember, I didn't even know I wanted this actually. I remember when I was younger watching movies like The Devil Wears Prada, and the power and the atmosphere, not necessarily the bitchy side of it. I don't want that. But seeing powerful women go to these networking events or be invited to events or have this recognition, that's a word. Something like that. You know where I'm going with that. But being a woman business owner and stepping into her power and having these amazing opportunities just come to her and people just come to her and traveling and speaking. And I remember just thinking, even when I was younger, I wanted something like that. I wanted to be known for who I am and what I do and use that to create a life for myself. And 2 weeks ago, I was sitting in my hotel room, my king size suite, humble brag, but truth, my king size suite that I was able to book for myself as I was in Boston, Massachusetts, to be on a television show. And just coming home from an invite-only networking events that I had gotten 4 hours before, because I reached out and said, I'm in Boston, and an amazing woman, Bobby Carlton, the founder of Innovation Women, who I'm a proud member of, reached out to me and said, I have this invite-only for speakers event. Why don't you come? And being in a room with phenomenal people who are speakers and innovators and entrepreneurs, coming into my hotel room and sitting with that I am now starting the life. I am now doing steps in my life that I have always dreamed of. I'm traveling to speak. I'm now having people coming to me, asking me to be a part of their conferences, paying me to be a part of their conferences. I am flying business class to spaces. I have money in my account that is 100% mine. And it was just the most surreal and powerful moment. And the first thought in my head is, how can I help people feel this? How can I help people sit in a space and recognize all of the amazing things that they not only brought to themselves, but that they brought it to themselves. Like, I think we try to play it off as something else, like, oh, well, I had great coaches, which I do. Oh, I know these people, which I do. But guess what? I took those resources, I recognized them, and I used them to their fullest extent because I had that laser focused intention on how I wanted to use it, how I wanted to get to those manifestations, staying open to possibilities. But when you have that true north, then you have a plan of action. And so, as I said, my intention today is not to sell you guys anything. I'm not. What I'm here to share with you guys is that it is up to you to create the business, the money, and the life that you want. You don't have to know the how, but you need to know the why. You need to have that picture. And then it's asking for those resources and utilizing the ones that you already have to their fullest extent. Because if you are, no matter if you're a business owner, entrepreneur, stay-at-home parent, corporate person, I want you to sit in a space of pure gratitude, knowing that you are now living the life you dreamt of. And you are starting to now be like, what can I do next? Because that is up to you. 3 years is a blink. The next 3 years, holy shitballs, I cannot wait. Like I'm just so excited about it. But I am sitting in this moment now, sharing this moment with you, because I am fucking proud of what I've accomplished. I did not accomplish it alone, but I did accomplish it for me. It was me putting those steps forward. It was me being vulnerable. It was me asking for help. And the reason why I was able to do that is because I connected to what I wanted and I made it a non-negotiable. If you are struggling with something, I'm always here to talk. If there's something that you know what you want, but you just need those first steps of the how, even if I don't know, I want to connect you with somebody who can, because I know a lot of amazing people. Some of you are watching right now. Hi, everybody. Sorry, I've been ignoring your messages. I got in the flow. But at the end of the day, you have full say on how you spend the time that you have. And you are the singular most important person in your life. And if there's something that you want to work toward, it is something that is pulling you, I want you to sit with it, figure out what is it that you can start developing so you can take those steps forward, see what resources you can have to start utilizing that, and who can you ask to support your not so muches. Because that's when you really start getting that whole picture and it really starts coming together of how this is going to look for you and your journey. It's never black and white. It's never a straight line. There are always going to be shifts and diversions. I could go into another story about that, about my journey, which I will sooner or later. But today is about today. Today is about you taking a moment and really making sure and checking in with yourself. Are you connected to who you are and what you do? And if not, what is a little thing that you can do to start re-engaging yourself? Because it's the little things you do every day that make the biggest difference. And if I can be of any support, of any help, no matter what that looks like, shoot me a DM and let me know where you're at, and I will let you know how I can support you 100%. Thank you guys so much for the love. Thank you so much for the comments. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me. And thank you for sharing this moment with me. I truly, truly appreciate it. Have a wonderful rest of the day. I'll chat with you soon. Bye.